Hello, homeschool friends. I'm Sabrina from Seven Sisters, and I'm here with my buddy.
Kym, hello, good morning. Or
And
afternoon or
we,
evening. I don't know.
afternoon, evening. Yeah, we don't know when you're watching
Middle of the
this.
night, whatever
Could be
works.
3 in the morning. That was me last night. I was watching stuff at 3 in the morning, so I had crazy insomnia. So if you are experiencing insomnia, I am so very sorry that you are watching this at 3 o'clock in the morning. But if you're here live while we're broadcasting,
Hello.
let us know. Say hi, pop in,
You
offer
bet.
some comments. We would love that.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
had this bright idea for the topic for today, only to discover that actually Kym's the one who knows a whole lot more about it than I do. And in fact, she's been working on preparation for a workshop that deals with some of this. So I'm going to set us up, and then Kym is going to make us all feel much smarter because she's going to share some fabulous insights. So we're talking this morning about career exploration. We are really, really big believers in the importance of career exploration in high school. I mean, such big believers. Like, it is some of the most important work your teen will do in the 4 years of high school. And it's unfortunate that more people don't realize how very important it is. Because career exploration is not about picking, when you're 15 years old, the job that you will do the rest of your life. It's not about that at all. It's about taking this time when you don't have to work and pay your own bills yet to explore how you're wired, how your abilities and interests line up with different kinds of jobs, how different fields maybe have all kinds of jobs in them that you've never even heard of or thought of before. There is so much out there that makes the world go round. And when you're a teenager and you're still doing high school, you have the freedom to do a lot of exploration, to talk to a lot of people, to visit places, to shadow places, and to do a whole lot of internal exploration, figuring out who you are, how you're wired, and what kinds of jobs would fit well. Because life should not be about finding a job that pays a bunch of money. Bam, end of story. It's fine if you end up making lots of money. I'm not opposed to money, but that's not the goal. You're going to spend a lot of hours in the rest of your life working. And so setting yourself up to do that wisely and happily and healthily means setting yourself up to do it successfully. So Kym has lots of experience working through career exploration with teens in our local homeschool community, as well as having done all of this with her own kids and some with my kids because we were co-oping together and all of that stuff. And Seven Sister Vicky is the author of our Seven Sisters Career Exploration Workbook. And then there is a career exploration bundle that bundles the workbook with some other specific resources, including one of my favorites, which I wrote, actually, writing your personal mission statement. So those are all the kind of things we're going to touch on today. And just want to go ahead and plant that seed at the beginning, that if we're finished talking about this and you're like, wow, I'd like to dig into that more, and I'd like to look at some excerpts from those resources, sevensistershomeschool.com, career exploration bundle. Okay. So Kym, take it away. What are your thoughts on career exploration and environments and personalities and teenagers?
Oh, there you go. Couple of first things to piggyback or emphasize some of the things Sabrina just said. Amen on the you spend a lot of your life doing whatever it is you do, whether for you your job is your job where you make the money and you know pay the bills and whatever, but what really is life-giving to you is outside your job. And that is really cool and okay too, as long as you want to be aware of that. You really want to think about that. um, in an ideal world, your job will also be your passion, and be something that really lights you up and in which you light other people up.
Mm.
But for all of us, that doesn't always happen. I think it's really interesting. This is something I've just kind of started playing with recently because I always said, you know, like find your passion and blah blah blah. And yeah, that's really true. But sometimes what really lights you up doesn't lend itself to a job. Uh,
Mm.
so career exploration can really help you look at that dynamic and that sort of dichotomy and figure out what are your passions. So Sabrina mentioned personality. So it's so important in career exploration. Yes, you can go interview all the people that do all the jobs and watch all the cool documentaries, and there's tons of things you can watch on the internet and on the History Channel and whatever. But if you don't know yourself, it's going to be really, really hard. And some of us are very self-aware, and so that part is easier. And maybe the actually learning about the careers is harder. But for some of us, self-awareness just is a real challenge. And if you're not very self-aware, you probably don't realize that that's a challenge for you. So, ta-da! So that's a really good place where other people come into play. So one of the things that I learned, I've taught career exploration in our local homeschool umbrella school. And actually, if people in my house weren't COVID positive, I would right now be preparing to go teach a workshop this afternoon. That's Seven Sister Marilyn, so graciously is now teaching and leading in my place. Marilyn and I were going to do it together, but she's doing most of it. I gave her
Yay, Marilyn.
Go, Marilyn. But the good point about that is anybody can do this. We can all, you don't have to be an expert in anything to help your teen and help other people's teens, and help yourself and your friends. I mean, I always say, I'm so curious to see what I'm going to be when I grow up, it's just, I feel like God is just constantly doing new things with me. And there are some things that I've done in small chunks, for a few years at a time. I've done many different things. But now I think I'm getting close to 20 years teaching in our local umbrella school, which is just kind of mind-boggling. Yeah, right?
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. Like someday I want to actually try to figure it out. I can't figure out how to figure out when I actually started. I've got to work on that. But anyway, so anyone can do this. And I really look at it as a two-part thing. The first part is knowing yourself. And then the second part is knowing careers. And then if you want to look at it that way, then the third part is figuring out where they intersect, so a great Venn diagram, right? So you figure out everything and then where the overlap is.
I love Venn diagrams.
Yay, right?
Yeah.
So in Vicky's, I'm going to rely a lot on Vicky's thing. And there is a piece of it that's available for free on our website. So don't feel like, oh, I have to go buy something.
Yeah, free questionnaire to get you started. And it truly is free. Just download the PDF and nobody starts hammering you with, so you got the questionnaire. Wouldn't you like this and that? And we don't do that. We don't do that.
It's not our style.
Sorry, go ahead.
So start out with some of the free stuff. And I'm going to give you stuff. There's tons of stuff you can find on the internet. And most of the personality stuff that you will find on the internet, you can find some good free stuff. They honestly, most of them will ask you for your email, and they will want to give you the higher level stuff that you do pay for. And there's a lot of good stuff that's really worth it, to be honest with you. It's a small investment, but do that on your time when you're ready, when you feel like it's valuable and all that stuff. Don't just sign up and pay for a bunch of stuff and then not have the time to do anything with it.
That's a good point.
So getting to know yourself. So, have your teens really think about themselves. What do they like to do in their spare time? Because that's not school related. That's like, if I had nothing to do, what would I do? And for many of us, that's, if you're more of an introverted type person, it might be reading a book. It might be spending time, in your room, just chilling. It might be, spending time online, but in a less social kind of setting or whatever. It might be taking a walk by themselves, whatever, petting the cat, whatever. If they're more extroverted, it might be more social things. It might be any of those same things, but doing it with somebody and then talking about it with somebody, and that kind of thing. So there's certainly that piece, and that tends to be one of the easiest parts of personalities to explore. But there's so many other pieces of personality to explore. There's a great resource. It's based on research by Carl Jung and then Myers and Briggs. And so there's a thing called the MBTI, if you're not familiar with it. There's lots of free mini versions of it available on the internet. And we can throw some of these links in the show notes for you, or in the comments or whatever. I discovered somehow through my personality geekiness, I love all the personality stuff. A number of us at Seven Sisters do. basically what we call the external team, right? It's like Sabrina and Vicky and I tend to be pretty into that. But I found
Yeah.
this. It's not going to show up super great on here, so I'm not going to even bother. But there's
Try
a
to see it.
there's a site called Truity, TRUITY.com, and they have Myers Briggs related things. They have Enneagram related things, which is another great personality based tool. Um, and they have a bunch of personality tests. And then they also have, which I recently discovered and took myself and really liked, they have a career personality profiler. And what I like
Hmm.
about that one in particular, you can find a bunch of free career things online as well. A lot of the free things that I've found out there are very career focused and not as, and they'll say, would you rather do this, 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 or this? And you have to choose one you would like the most and one you would dislike the most.
Okay.
But I'll be honest, when I got my result, even as I was taking it, I thought, okay, what if I really don't like any of these things?
Mm, good
And
question.
then,
Yeah.
yeah. And when I got my results back, I just felt like it wasn't very broad in terms of what we know some of the options are and some of the creative things. And that's one of the cool things I think about homeschoolers is many of us have figured out ways to be creative with our education. And so we also can apply that to our careers or our jobs.
Right.
And there are so many jobs and careers, there's going to be something tomorrow that didn't exist today. There's certainly 5 years from now, there are going to be tons of careers that we maybe are only dreaming of right now, or certainly maybe as homeschool families, we may be completely unaware of
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Social media managers did not exist.
exactly.
And yet it is a huge field now. Like
Exactly.
huge. Yeah. That's
Exactly
such a
right.
good point.
Virtual assistants, just
Mm-hmm.
the nature of the last couple of years in our world, as well as just
Yeah.
what technology does for and with our world. So the
Wow.
thing I liked about this, the career personality profiler, is it had some of that same type of thing. What do you like and that sort of thing. But then it also asked about your personality, and it gave you like character kind of words and said, "Is this most like you, a little bit like you?" Um, my favorite one was, "Are you humble?" And if you said that you were extremely agree, you felt like you were being a little not humble.
Yeah. How does that work exactly?
Kind of fun. But
Oh my goodness.
I particularly enjoyed that particular one. So a little plug for that. But we're not affiliates.
We're
Maybe
not
we should
affiliates.
be. Yeah, so
Indeed.
that's an option. Um, Aside from doing these little instrument things, the other way that I love for students to get to know themselves is to think about themselves, write some things down, and true confession, I am not a journaler. My best bud Sabrina here, is the journal queen.
I have
And I,
far too many marble composition notebooks. Far
yeah,
too many.
so here I spend lots of my life with Sabrina and Vicky, and I'm like, I know I'm supposed, and Marilyn, and I know I'm supposed to write goals down, but I hate writing goals down because I feel like then that gives me the opportunity to look back and go, I didn't do that. But recently, I have discovered the joy of journaling a little bit, and I am starting to do it. But whether you love or hate to journal or write or think about yourselves, you and your teens, just have them write down some things. Have them sit down, do it in a session, but then also think over a week, over a month, even over a semester. Keep that handy. Keep it, on the side of their desk. Keep it on the fridge, wherever they're going to see it, where they can just write down thoughts that come to their minds. Keep it in their phone, wherever. Um, and then, so they're going to think about themselves. They're also going to interview a few adults. So Sabrina always talks about the joy of, and I've got my little coffee protein powder beverage this morning, in my Seven Sisters mug. Um, um, but the just the joy of just and the informality and yet the deep connection that can happen over a meal, over a snack.
Hmm.
So this does not need to be, oh, it's academic work. Let's, treat it like such. You can,
Right.
and that's fine if that works for you, but it doesn't have to be. And you want it to be a little bit different, if that's at all appealing to your family, because you don't want this to feel as much like work as as really a joy and exploring. Our mission at our local umbrella school is we really believe each student is unique, and our goal is to help each student find their unique God-given who they are, and then help them, follow what Christ has for them with that. And I've recently kind of morphed that into my own language, which is we want to help you find your superpowers. Um,
Cool.
and then how can you use them for yourself, other people, and God? So that's my career exploration motto.
Great.
um,
That's
and so by talking to other people, how often do you find that other people see something in you that you kind of know is there, but you kind of forget about, or it's so natural that you don't even realize it's a thing, or that it's
right.
powerful to other people or anything like that? So interview a couple other people, certainly some family members, but maybe, a neighbor that you know well, another trusted adult, maybe somebody from church, somebody you work for or with or volunteer for, if you babysit, the family you babysit for, just somebody that knows you pretty well and gets you and appreciates you. And then also interview a couple of your peers. And this can
Mm,
be interesting and tough, like especially
yeah.
if you have a sibling that's close to you in age that you have a good relationship with. They can be so valuable because they see all of you, right? Maybe a couple of close friends, and it could be as simple as a text chat, or again, sit down and have a snack or a meal together, or whatever. Road trips are great times to have
Mm,
conversations. Um, so those are big parts of the getting to know you thing.
yeah.
Uh, and then I don't want to run us too long, so I'm going to make the other part kind of short. I honestly think that's the biggest, most important part. And understand that you're God's not finished with any of us yet.
Mm,
So we're still growing, we're still changing. I heard a great speech at a secular community college graduation by the president. And in his speech, he said, God draws straight with crooked lines. It's one of my favorite career exploration and just human being
great quote.
development things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's great.
your career doesn't have to be one straight path. It may be, and that can be really good. Mr. Smythe has known since he was 13 that he wanted to be an accountant, and he still does accounting work every day, and he still enjoys it, and he feels like it's exactly what he's supposed to be, and he's done it every day in between. I've probably done 7 different types of jobs, and I definitely feel like God is, but he's still taking me somewhere, and he is using everything I do. I notice that he uses other stuff that I've done to be where I am. So then the second part is um, a little bit more basic or whatever, and that is just getting to know some careers. It's so hard to know what you want to do when you're a teenager. For some of us, it's hard to know what you want to do when you're many decades beyond being a teenager. So just try to be a sponge. Um, and you can do anything from, if you are active in an in-person kind of homeschool community, or this would be a great virtual thing to do as well. Um, Create a career fair. Just reach out to people that
Mm,
you know and say, hey, what have you done in your life besides be a homeschool connected person? You know, all kinds of things. And we tend to think careers, and we think, doctor, lawyer, or whatever. Or at least that's how that's what my parents. Um, I'm a first generation college student, and my parents were like, they didn't know anything about college, but they wanted opportunity and all that stuff, for which I'm very grateful. They were a little disturbed when I went from being on a career path to be a lawyer to be a teacher. Uh, but they now see that that's exactly where I was supposed to be, and that's how God wired me. And I would be a terrible lawyer and a terrible United States senator and all those other things that I thought I wanted to be once upon a time. But so anyway, so just talk to people about their careers, and it can be that simple. Just whoever you're around, talking about their careers, their jobs. And when I say career, I'm thinking just what they do to earn a living. So, it can be, this is my lifelong thing, or it can be, I do this for a while and I do this. I do this because it enables me to do this.
hmm
Can I share a little bit about Sam? I think Sam is a beautiful example of this.
Yeah, Sam is one of my kids, and he is a filmmaker and screenplay writer, and he has wanted to make movies his whole life. And he recognized that the chances of him just being Steven Spielberg and, making movies and money right out of the gate was pretty slim. So he needed a day job, and he wanted a day job that would give him the kind of flexibility that he would need to schedule movie shoots and to do some travel for shoots on location and all of that kind of stuff. And so he has worked in the restaurant industry for years, and that has been enough to meet all of his financial needs. He is not becoming a billionaire doing it, but he has no problem. In fact, I got a text from him this morning that he just paid off his credit card from a extended trip that he had taken a while back, that he had decided to do a little bit on credit, and he has paid it all off. So he's very happy about that. So it meets his needs, but it doesn't just meet his financial needs. It meets his other needs too. It meets those needs for flexibility, and that was a really important piece of his decision making. I have another son who works in a factory setting because he really loves the structure of it. He likes being on the go and doing physical stuff, and he wants his job to be that. He had worked in other areas before. He worked in a restaurant. He worked at a car dealership, and the pace and the interaction and the social piece of it at all, that was not what he wanted. But he really likes working with metal, and that's what he's doing, and he's been doing it for several years now, and it's a really good fit for him. And then it frees him up for all of his extroverted activities to be on his off time, because he doesn't have to do as much of that when he's at work. He's not working with the public. So yeah, those kinds of things, those environmental pieces of it. What do you want your life to be like? Not just what do you want your job to be like? What do you want your life to be like? If you're a homebody, you do not want to end up in a career that's going to require a ton of solo travel, because you're going to miss your home and your family. You're going to be homesick. If you are someone who loves to travel and go and be able to just pick up and go, then you don't want to get yourself into a career that absolutely requires a certain location all the time. So those kinds of things, they matter just as much as what am I good at, or where can I make money?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. Thanks. They're just perfect examples of that sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah, I mentioned doing interviews. I think we should do a second one and talk more about the second part of career exploration.
Okay, let's do that.
And
we'll do that next week.
Yeah. So because I think the other thing that Sabrina really touched on, that is Vicky's workbook, again, does a great job on that. But again, plug, but you can do this on your own too, is really think about lifestyle and be really honest with yourself. It is not a sin to want to travel, or to have a really big boat, or to live in a really big house, or have a really nice car, or whatever. What you do with that, whether you have little or whether you have a ton, is what we do with it. That's the heart. That's what matters. So if those things are important to you or very appealing to you, you need to just realize that if I want this kind of lifestyle, I am going to have a career that will enable me to have that kind of lifestyle. Like there are trade-offs.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure that you're, that you're thinking about what's important to you and why. Look around at the people around you, in your life. What do you see in this person's life that you think is very appealing to you, that you would want in your life? Not only like, oh wow, that looks like fun. Like I walk on the beach and I look at all the houses and I think, oh wow, wouldn't it be cool to live there? But I don't really mean like I am ever going to do that. It just would be, it would be fun kind of thing.
Right.
Because I'm not willing to make the choices that I would have had to make to put myself in.
Yes. Anything that we say yes to is saying no to something else. And anything we say no to is opening up an opportunity to say yes to something else. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, we'll do that. We'll do a second one that leans more into that second piece of it. And we'll just plan to do that next week.
Sounds great.
Yeah, because this has gone on long enough. I'm sure we should probably wrap it up. But you can tell that we're passionate about this.
We are. We love your kids and we love you. Exactly. And we love seeing people end up in places that are really a good fit for them.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's exactly where I was going to go. There is something really sad about meeting someone in their 40s who
Oh, yeah.
feels completely stuck in a career that they
Mhm.
do not find fulfilling or challenging in
Mhm.
any of the good ways.
Mhm.
But they say, yeah, but this is where I am. And I probably shouldn't mess it up, change it,
Mhm.
whatever. It's much harder to make that decision. This is not working out when you're 40 than
Mhm.
it is to do some exploration while
Uh,
you're young.
yep.
And, maybe something else we can touch on in the second one is with the up and coming generation, the idea that they're going to choose a career and be in it
Oh,
for
yeah.
most is becoming less and less common. And that's a big change. So for us as parents, that can be a little bit tough for us to shake ourselves out of our
Mhm.
own mindset. And so the kind of conversations that our teens have, that could be really important on that too. So hopefully I'll
Absolutely.
make some notes so I don't forget what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
we both will.
And we
Yeah.
will come back to this next week. You can
Yeah.
see why we think it's really, really, really important.
Yeah.
Really
Absolutely.
important. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
worth some time from us, and it's worth some time in your homeschool. So
It
yeah,
really.
download the career exploration questionnaire if you would like to see Vicky's kind of approach to the workbook that she created. And also, anytime you're going to find lots of career exploration blog post
Yeah.
resources on
Um,
Seven Sisters website. So sevensistershomeschool.com, go to the blog, and in the search box, just type in career exploration. And you are going to find so much free information and ideas and tools there.
mhm.
So yeah, let your big sisters help you out. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to just figure all of it out. We would like to help.
Yeah.
So
Really.
thanks for letting us be a part of your homeschool adventure. If you were here with us live this morning, thanks for doing that. If you're watching us at 3 o'clock in the morning, I hope you can get some sleep. Please take care of yourself. Have a wonderful rest of your day and week, and we will see you again here on Seven Sisters Facebook group.
See ya.
Bye.